Mondays with Mikey and Murf. We talking Raiders and Antonio Brown dirt. We are a good Raider talk show. We're going to try to have great times. Let's go. It's Mondays with Mikey and Murf. So, it wouldn't be a Raider fandom if you didn't have a little bit of drama in the beginning of the season to get us started. We're going to have a good year, no doubt. No doubt, I don't care about the drama. We're going to have positive times, no llama. I don't need a llama in my life. I need a touchdown and a Raider Nation for life. It's Monday with Mikey and Murf. We talking Raiders and Antonio Brown dirt. Because it's a cool Raider talk show. We got two fabulous hosts. Let's go. It's Mondays with Mikey and Murf. Oh, Murf, guess what? I was a little bit late today to get on the air. We're a couple of minutes late. So are you going to find me?
For conduct detrimental to Mondays with Mikey and Murf and On Air Nation, you have been served, Mikey. But you know what? We're not going to make you pay the fine. We just need to do this because it's a formality that's required here on Air Nation.
Oh, man, conduct detrimental. Those are the terms that it's going to prove to get me out of my contract. And I'm pissed off. But, you know, I'm going to take it like a man. I'm going to take my fines. And, you know, hopefully YouTube don't shut me off or release me. All right, let's get right into it. Murf, this is the season opener, Mondays with Mikey and Murf. We got Monday, or let's call it Monday Mikey and Murf, football coming up. You excited?
Oh, my gosh. I'm fired up, man. We're finally going to do this thing for real. We got the Bears and the Packers tonight, and, of course, the Raiders closing out the end of the week with Monday Night Football and the doubleheader against the Broncos. And I just talked to a sports handicapper that we had on Raiders Fan Radio, and he said for all of you that are bettors out there, wait till the Raiders get to be a 3-point underdog. Take the points, take the Raiders at home. Home underdogs on Monday Night Football win 72% of the time. How about that?
Hey, you know what? For now, we're favorites, but I don't think the Vegas odd makers have added what might happen in the next couple days with whatever's going on in Raider Nation universe. That being said, I just quickly wanted to announce, like always, you know, we're always possibly having internet problems. So if it cuts out, no worries. Stay tuned in. This show will be proposed later. And, you know, if you don't hear everything we say, don't worry. It'll be fixed in post. All right, Murf, let's get right into it. We got a lot to get into today. Let everybody know where they can find your amazing podcast, your channel, what you're doing on stations.
Well, thank you, Mikey. Yeah, you can find everything that we do. Murf's Fan Cave. That's MURF, like it's spelled up there. Murf's Fan Cave, and now we're on every podcast service that exists. Apple, Stitcher, Google Play, all that good stuff. You can find us there, so please subscribe and support us that way. And then we're also here on YouTube with the encouragement of Mikey. We started a live stream, and it's awesome. Our community in there in the chat is the best, and so please check us out there, youtube.com/Murf's Fan Cave. And then if you want to help support our show in other ways, the best thing to do is to buy one of these t-shirts at RaidersFanRadio.com, or you can go to RaidersFanRadio.com and click a link that will take you to NFLShop.com. And then anything that you buy there won't cost you anything extra, but we're taking the proceeds that they give us back. We're going to take all of that money from the t-shirts and everything that we do, and we're going to donate it to the Blitnikoff Foundation in November. And we are almost at our goal. Our goal was $2,000. We're at about $1,500 now. And we recently have partnered with KC Raider Nation. Eddie and his group are so awesome, and they're going to make their September charity donation. Us will be the recipient of that. And again, we're going to turn it all over to Blitnikoff, and just gotten some amazing donations, some amazing, not even people just buying stuff, but people just flat out donating money to the cause. And it's going to go to a great place, and we're going to gladly do it on your behalf. We're going to donate it in November. So thank you to all of you for supporting us the way that you do. Murf's Fan Cave.
How dare you give away money to a charity that's not Antonio Brown Foundation?
Yeah.
Sorry, we're going to have I'm going to have a lot of digs tonight, so I apologize beforehand.
Hey, I got something to say really quick too. I just want to get this off my chest. All right.
Uh-oh.
Mikey, we have a problem. but we don't have a problem with each other. We got a problem with it. Now it's a problem. Like, okay. And I know we're going to get into it, but I just wanted to say that, 2 weeks ago you had a family emergency come up. This last week was real funky for me and with Labor Day, and I wasn't able to record on Monday. I got a lot of messages from people going, "Oh, Monday's Mikey and Murf. They got divorced. They broke up." No, that ain't going to happen. You and I are friends off air, not just here doing a show together. And we may get fired up and hoot and holler and all that kind of stuff, but we're still buddies, man. And that's never going to change. And so I'm not going anywhere. I don't think you're going anywhere. I'll be here as long as Mikey's got room for me. You know what I mean? So there is nothing but love between the two of us. And despite how fiery we may get, we're just a couple of passionate Raider fans that love this team and are fiery about it. And so, I appreciate all the feedback from the good and bad. And, I don't expect everybody to always agree with me or with you, or it doesn't matter, but none of that stuff matters. It's all healthy. It's all love, and we're good. Like, this show is not going to stop because we freaking disagree on a subject. Like, you know what I mean?
I thank you for that. And again, I'm a conspiracy theorist, and I'm going to let everybody know there was no conspiracy of this. There was no conspiracy. I had a major family drama happen the 2 previous Mondays, and then Labor Day was Labor Day. And, people got to spend time with their families. That's what happened, to let all of our fans know. And that being said, let's get right into it, Murph. Are you ready for I used to call it headlines, deadlines. Now it's called the Great Bait, and I made it a contest. But you know what? For today's show, it's not going to be the Great Debate. It's going to be the Great Raider Talk. Because it ain't a debate. We're just going to talk our opinions and our thoughts, and we're going to move on.
I like it.
I like it. Because I don't want it to be a contest, Murph, Why does it have to be fans picking who wins? Why does it have to be a contest? It doesn't matter who wins. We both win. We're on a show talking Raiders. We both win.
Absolutely.
Freaking
well said.
Well said, Wilson. All right, let's get right into the important issues, and we'll get to the Antonio Brown stuff in a few minutes. But I want to respect football because I love football as well. I really like getting, friends like mine, like Murph's opinion on the show. So we had the Andrew Luck early retirement announcement about a week or so ago, and that was a shock to me. I didn't see it happening, and I just wanted to ask you the question: what was your feeling of the Andrew Luck retirement, and is the NFL burning players out with the grind?
Yeah, I think so. Especially if they think they're going to run this thing to an 18-game regular season. I think that's a little excessive as well. And it's only going to go one way, but I think is the awareness of head injuries and the awareness of what the actual toll is on these guys' bodies and what their lives are like, within handfuls of years of them retiring. And, we've heard it from Luck. We heard it from Gronk here. We're going to get into AB stuff later, but yeah, I think that it is. And it definitely, churns these guys up. And that's a reason that they try to get the contracts the way that they do. Even like with Khalil Mack, I didn't even necessarily begrudge him for wanting to get as much money as he could. I'm a capitalist at heart, man. So I get it because you're only one injury away or you're, whatever. And it's a lot. And so I would rather though, these guys do this than do maybe more what I think Antonio Brown's doing and just kind of dragging it out unnecessarily. I'll never forget Charles Woodson's quote when he retired. He said, "I woke up in Detroit and for the first time in my life, I didn't want to get up and go work at it." And he said, and it was only fleeting. It was only for just a quick moment, but he said, that's the first time in my life I ever thought that way. And that's when I knew I was going to retire. I would rather these guys be honest with themselves and us as fans. If you even have an inkling of it, get out. Absolutely get out. It's not that we're related maybe, but indirectly. I've talked about this about podcasting with my co-host Uncle Mosh before. The second this stops being fun and rewarding in any way, we're out. You know what I mean? As soon as this stops being a good time and whatever, we're out. Because you got to be honest with yourself. Granted, this is their job and this isn't my job and whatever. But still, point being though, be honest with us. It's okay. If you feel burnout and you're not going to be out there giving it your all, then we don't want to watch you anyways. So,
but they're afforded that luxury because they're millionaire athletes. So they're afforded the luxury of quitting when they feel like, they don't have to. I'm just going to speak from a little bit of experience, guys. I'm financially struggling, and that's why I try to get all the hot takes in my videos. But I've lost the passion. Doesn't mean I lost the passion for the Raiders. I've lost the passion for YouTube. I've lost the passion for dealing with drama, other YouTubers. I live in the subscriber, the like world. How many views, how much money can I get, and all that. And I've lost the passion, but I can't quit. I want to, but I can't because I can't afford it. And then I'm saying they can afford that luxury. And then on top of him quitting, or I don't like the word quit, of him leaving or retiring, but they're letting him keep $13 million that they're not going to go after a salary bonus. I mean, would that happen for any other player? That's a very unique view of that. So let YouTube give me the money to quit or to retire. Give me the money.
Yeah, pay me to go home. Yeah, okay. But yeah, I hear you. And you know what? And that's probably the more likely of the scenarios with the look. Because look, not everybody is a multi-million-dollar, multi-year quarterback for the same team that's made all that money. So a lot of these guys are second, third, fourth year guy. Well, what if you lose your passion year two? But you're making, the veteran minimum or whatever. Like, you're going to keep going. You're going to keep grinding your way through that. And that's where, again, it takes even more of a toll on you. But, I mean, football is football. It's not life. I mean, as much as we treat it as such, and it really kind of is in a way, at least in my home. But it's not. Even as much as I have a reverence for it and love it and a passion for it clearly and do all these shows and talk about the Raiders nonstop. Even when I don't do shows, I'm still blabbering on about the Raiders all the time. It still pales in comparison to my family or my health or my faith or all those things. So, so for these guys, there's life after football. There's especially for somebody like Andrew Luck, went to freaking Stanford for crying out loud. Like he's a smart guy. He's, you know what I mean? Like he's a guy that plays football. He's not a football player. You know what I mean? Like, and there's a lot of guys that are like, there's some guys that are just football. Like Tom Brady is a football player. Like but you know what I mean? But not Andrew Luck. He was just really good at football and he's really good at a lot of other things. And now he wants to go try those things out. So
sad day to say the least. I mean, I will miss him. He was a great quality player.
Good for us though.
That's true. We played the Colts. So hopefully that's an added victory to our team. All right, let's get into the NFL preseason thoughts. I mean, I think this preseason in the entirety of the NFL was the most ridiculous, fun to watch in all teams. Like, because they don't start starters. They started the trend last year with McVay and a bunch of other teams. I mean, I got tickets to the Rams-Raiders games in LA. I went in hot heat. I got a 100-degree fever, went to the hospital with almost a heat stroke, and I wasn't even able to watch the starters in the week 3 preseason game with the Raiders and the Rams. And they did that this entire year for almost every single team. So should they cancel it preseason? Should they shorten it? Or should they expand the playoffs like they've been talking about doing from your perspective?
I would rather see the playoffs get extended. We've gone from a 14-game schedule to a 16-game schedule, and now they've talked about going to the 18-game schedule. And, I think it's just too much. And I think the only way they're going to get that is that the owners would have to agree to resting certain players or guaranteeing 2 players were going to rest throughout the course. The players would rest for 2 games throughout the course of the season. And that's just really goofing up the record books and, you know what I mean? Like it's that to me is not a viable solution. The idea of expanding the playoffs, I think, is a better solution. And then in terms of the preseason itself, I'm with you. It's very uninspiring. I used to never miss a second of a Raiders preseason game. I got a big kick out of it. I loved watching, what they were doing. The players are evaluating all that. But now I feel like it's just a placeholder. They're only doing it because they have to. The guys that are playing in these games are all going to be working at Home Depot this week. Like there's no consequence to it. So it's not exciting at all. And for the first time ever, I watched the first 2 games start to finish. The third game, I was watching it, lost interest. I started doing laundry instead. That shows you how excited I was. And then the third game, I watched a few bits and pieces of the Seattle game. I didn't even watch the rest of it. I'm like, this is freaking boring. This is not very good. This is not a good product. Now, I don't know if the NFL is doing that intentional, because the only way they're going to get those additional 2 games in the regular season is by eliminating 2 preseason games. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but I will say this. Nowadays, the way that the coaches are structuring their scrimmages with each other, where they can protect their quarterback, it's a controlled environment, they can be very specific in the thing. That's the way that all of this is going, right? That's the way that, and the quote preseason is going. That's why you don't see any of the starters anymore, because Derek Carr is going to get work in the scrimmage. He's not going to get any work in the preseason game, or at least very little. So I don't know, man. I don't see this thing ending anytime soon in terms of the condition or the decision process needing to be made, but it's going to continue to evolve. I guess what I'm trying to say. It's going to change over the next however many years.
Yeah, I think they should literally just shorten it to 2 games and expand the playoffs by 1 week, if at all possible. I think that's even asking too much, but I would like a 1-week playoff edition, and I think they should shorten the preseason. So at least for 1 game and a half, those young players that are going to try to make the roster have at least enough to show, and at least the Raider starters play for one of 1 quarter with what they've been doing all season. And then just ended, that Canada game was a debacle from the NFL. I don't even want to speak on it. The field, they didn't even ready the field before the game. It looked fine before the game, then during the game didn't look good, and then ridiculous. The NFL is just messing everything up, and I'm tired of it. All right, let's go to things that messed everything up for the Raiders last year at this time. From my perspective, this created a trend. I'm not going to say for running backs. I'm going to say Le'Veon Bell did that, because Le'Veon Bell was officially on his franchise tag. But Khalil Mack was going into 5th-year option that he signed and they agreed upon. But now this year, Jadeveon Clowney in a 5th-year option, declining and all that other stuff, a tag or whatever's going on. Did Khalil Mack create a trend for defensive players or a lot of NFL players to get their money, proving he'll either be traded and get his money? I don't know. Do you think this is a trend that Khalil Mack started in the NFL?
I think it's a trend, but I think it's been going on for a while. I mean, just off the top of my head, Darrelle Revis was one that held out of camp. In fact, when they were on Hard Knocks, when the Jets were on Hard Knocks, that was one of the big storylines. Was that?
But in their 5th-year option, that's what I was asking. I don't know how many players in their exact 5th-year option did that. I know they've done it on franchise tag, but I meant 5th-year option.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that thing's only been around since when the latest CBA was signed. What year was that? 2011?
Probably 2010, 2011, 2012.
So, I mean, yeah, is he on the front end of it? I mean, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair question. I mean, he may have, but I think the concept, though, has been around for so long, and now just the conditions of it are just changed because the CBA changed, But yeah, I mean, yeah, he was definitely the biggest name that has done it to this point. You know what I mean? And to get his way. And then now, like you said, you got all the running backs out. And heck, there's all kinds of guys that were out, I don't know about Trent Williams. I don't know if he was on an option or not, but he's holding out. I mean, it's all over the place. It's rampant, man. Players staying out.
That's what I'm saying. But just because it happened to such a big star player, and he got traded, he got his money. The Raiders, the teams got their draft picks, to start foundation. It seems to be like the norm of the NFL. You get it, that trend might have continued to norm because it happened this season with players like Josh Rosen, stuff like that, getting traded for draft picks, and then players holding out to get their money elsewhere. And then maybe Antonio Brown watched all of this and he's like, me too.
Well, they're definitely, with the rookie contracts, the way that they're structured, that, you can be an all-world player like Khalil Mack and not get paid like one. And so, yeah, I mean, it all is going to depend on that player's talent. But, I mean, conditionally, is it shaping, how these guys are going about it? Yeah, absolutely it is. And I don't think that's going to slow down anytime soon. Until when we got another CBA agreement coming up, though, right? So we might.
In 2 years, 2021, I think, or 2020.
If you think about the Jamarcus contract, that was the one that was like that one, and like Sam Bradford, I believe, was the last quarterback to get drafted to get paid a bunch of money on the front end, a rookie deal. But like those type deals were the ones that put a stop to it, because when you have somebody flame out like Jamarcus, it literally drags down your organization for 5 years. Like you can't get out of it. So they reworked the CBA to keep teams from being so exposed and to making it more of a manageable thing if a player doesn't work out. Well, if now they foresee that this is a problem, then now we're getting to year 4 and none of these guys are showing up. Well, then maybe they word that into the CBA that they've got to alter that, or maybe they make year 4 and 5 more lucrative for these guys or something. I don't know. You make a Pro Bowl, whatever. I don't know. But something though, Mikey. Yes, absolutely. Will it change? Probably. I mean, if it continues to be an issue, it will.
Yeah, I think the NFL owners and coaches and general managers, whoever of the like nowadays, even though they know when they get a player in the first round that they think they got him for 5 years, I think the trend is they got him for actually 3. Then know the agents, if they're a good player, are going to get involved. So after year 3, they're going to start negotiating, and some of this drama might continue. All right, let's get into Hard Knocks. Some people are calling it Hard Knocks went soft. Some people are saying Hard Knocks went soft this season. But I just want to know your official review of this season, because we as Raider fans loved it and enjoyed every moment of it. Whether you truly thought it went soft is up to you. And I just asked the question, did it help the team's image? Because a lot of people thought it might hurt the Raiders' image in terms of distractions and all that. And then who was the true star of the show?
Well, Gruden was the star, I think. But I think that was obvious going in. I don't think anybody was expecting otherwise. To me, the most unexpected star was Coach Buck. Buckner's awesome. I got a chance to meet him down at the Senior Bowl. He was way cool. And man, he's just funny. He's engaging. I really like Coach Buck. And clearly, everybody else thinks he's funny and engaging too, because they had him leading off the show instead of Gruden. You know what I mean? So you got 2 Grudens, you got a Caliendo, and you got 2 Coach Bucks, right? So I thought that was pretty cool. Did it help their image? I don't know I wouldn't say that. I'd say it didn't hurt it though either. But I'm already way in the bag for this stuff. So for somebody that's not a Raider fan or just a casual NFL fan, I'm not sure how they would respond to that. So I'm trying to think of when I've watched other teams, like when we watched the Browns last year, it helped their image because we saw what an idiot Hugh Jackson was. And so when he got fired, it was like, oh yeah, okay, well good. You know, cause this guy's a moron. And then Baker goes out there and balls out. And so my image of the Browns is better now because of knowing what happened during that last season of Hard Knocks. So somebody that's not a Raider fan, I don't know what they would say. I will tell you this. I thought that they were portrayed very accurately, and especially in the first 2, maybe 2.25, 2.5 episodes, I thought they did an excellent job building the foundation of what the Raiders are. What is a Raider? What does it represent? What is pride and poise, commitment to excellence, just win, baby? What's the lineage of the team? What's the legacy of the team? What's the legacy of the alumni? And you know what I mean? The colors and playing the autumn wind and just all of that stuff. I thought they did a very good job of showing what being a Raider is all about and what this organization stands for. I thought they did that very, very well. So definitely kudos to those guys. But then after we kind of did that and hit some of the funnier moments, really like the Caliendo stuff and all that, it really kind of leveled out. And it didn't end with a thud, but I mean, we already knew what the cuts were going to be, and then they didn't show them, and that's typically the most compelling part of the show.
That pissed me off.
Yeah, so I'm surprised, actually, that HBO signed off on that. I'm sure that was a Mayock thing, and in listening to Mayock's quotes, I mean, it was gut-wrenching to him to cut all these kids, and that's his words. He's like, I was honest with them. It was a very straightforward process, and he said, and each one of them hurt. So I'm sure he told the producers, look, I don't want this stuff out there, and they respected his request and they didn't show it. But that's, as a viewer, that's the most compelling part of Hard Knocks is the end. Who makes it? Watching Keelan Doss go through those last bits of all that stuff. Yeah, but
who are they battling? After reviewing it a few days later, I started thinking about the battles of Keelan Doss. They didn't really feature Keon Hatcher. They didn't feature Rico Gafford. They didn't feature Ryan Grant, working on the sidelines of who Keelan Doss was battling. So I didn't So we all thought he made the team. We're like, they're showing him he's going to make the team. We didn't get that, like, that contrast of who he's battling. And every time he drops a ball, Ryan Grant takes a step ahead. And that really bothered me because I love documentaries and stuff.
Well, that's a great point, Mikey. And, one of the things that when Gruden was asked about Doss, and he said, and they were saying, well,
it's not my story.
Yeah, it's not my storyline. That was yours. And so you're right. And that's a very interesting point, though, is that the way that it was portrayed, you're right. And typically Hard Knocks does show those battles, those position battles. And like, all right, here's these two guys competing for this one spot. Hey, do they get along? Do they not get along? Do they support each other? Who's going to make it? And then at the end, you find out who made it, right? You're right. They didn't do any of that kind of stuff. We didn't see the dynamic between Doss and any of the other receivers, Aitman or any of them. And now, granted, it may be because they shied away from the camera. I mean, we didn't see Josh Jacobs either, but that wasn't because they weren't trying. It's because every time you saw Josh Jacobs, he was doing this. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. But so I think that's why it ended kind of soft, I guess. But the beginning, the first 2 episodes and most of the third one, they were home runs, man. Especially that first one. That first one had me fired up, man. I watched it like 4 times. I mean, that was really good television. So I think as an overall, it was definitely an A.
Yeah. So the true star of the show, again, it's Gruden, 100%. We cannot go with any other answer. And I think Gruden loved being the star of the show. Let's get that right, because he was featured so many times showing his knowledge or his trivia skills of colleges or counting backwards. He freaking loved it. But that's fine, because Gruden is human. He is an entertainer, and, we'll leave it at that. But he is an excellent coach, and I love the knock on wood phrase.
Yes.
A lot of people wanted to make fun of him for doing that. But again, if you look at it from a different perspective, he keeps players awake by asking them to knock on wood, because some players are awake, and the ones that are sleeping during the long meetings, when he says knock on wood, the players that are awake are going to knock on wood, and guess what that's going to do to the sleeping damn players? It's going to wake them up because there's wood being knocked. So that's good coaching. Asking questions, always keeping their brain involved, that's good coaching to me. And did it help the team's image? I think 100% it did. But again, the media is already out for blood, so they didn't like the Raiders had final cut. Possibly they had. We don't really know. I think it helped the image because they wanted drama, and we're trying to show a new foundation that the Raiders are not about drama, and that leads me into Antonio. Oh, give me one favorite moment from Hard Knocks. One.
Oh, just one. Okay. Well, Caliendo was brilliant, but the hardest I laughed, and it's probably not politically correct for me to tell the story, so I'll just refer to it as Cleveland Farrell's prayer in the huddle when they were breaking down the D-line. I think it was the end of episode 2. That was the funniest that cracked me up. And Coach Buck goes, "Oh, when you were with Dabo, you were Jesus this and Jesus that. Now you're a Christian comedian, right?" That part, well, the joke that he was pretty darn funny, man. That absolutely cracked me up. So go back and watch that. That was the funniest, I think. But then Caliendo, though, I mean, that was brilliant. That was freaking brilliant. Having him come in and talk to the guys and all that. That was, I think as an overall, because instead of the prayer was just one little quick joke, but Caliendo's was, that was a 10-minute segment or whatever it was. So I think that if I had to pick between those 2 moments, that would be the one. Let me go with Caliendo.
That's cool, man. I mean, there's so many great moments that I haven't. If I should make a top 10, but long story short, when John Madden came on screen and they split between John Madden coaching the sled and the players, then they had Gruden coaching the sled and the players, back and forth with the autumn wind music and the horns and the poem and all that in the background. I was like, Raider drugged me. Raider drugged me.
Yeah.
He Raider drugging me. And I just. So that was it for me. That was my favorite moment. All right, guess what? The Antonio Brown helmet drama, according to Antonio Brown, is officially over.
Oh, good. So everything's fine now.
Everything's fine. The helmet drama's over. And he's got a new helmet and all that other stuff. And in his Twitter feed, this is yesterday, before all the stuff that came down today, he quoted in that Instagram feed, he said, this was the most calculated move by far. So did you calculate all the helmet drama to get a brand deal, to make money, to get media exposure? I'm sure that pissed off Mike Mayock. And then we'll get into Antonio Brown's incidents. You guys can read it on screen. I don't need to go through it. And then we all know, again, he posted that most calculated thing after he posted the letter. And I don't need to talk about it. I don't need to explain it to you guys. We don't need to go over what he said because, it's open to interpretation. But he posted a letter publicly of being fined by the Raiders. But I do want to state one thing that I believe, Murph, a lot of people are missing from this letter. In the first segment, he said, as you know, you did not participate in the walkthrough that was in Winnipeg. Why did Antonio Brown fly to Winnipeg if he wasn't going to play? Because Gruden said the players that are not going to play are not going to fly, but maybe Antonio Brown wanted to be around the team. That's fine. But look at the statement underneath. Mayock wrote, you were previously fined $40,000. So that means Antonio Brown was fined before this. This is not the official fine. So Antonio Brown was previously fined $40,000 that he knew about for missing that Raiders preseason camp when he left and he came back with his agent. So that means Antonio Brown got a letter back then, or he was notified by Mayock back then. So why didn't he post, the picture then? I don't know. But I'm just saying he was previously fined. All right, so let's get right into it. We all know the drama, what's going on. So I asked the question, Murph, was Mike Mayock right in fining Antonio Brown?
Yes, that is the rules. He's not immune to them. That is he cites the article in the CBA where this is noted. This is an NFL, not necessarily mandated thing, but this is Mike Mayock didn't write this thing. This is legalese, man, when you read this. So yes, he did the right thing. AB is going to be held to the exact same standard as everybody else on this football team. That's the Raider way. That's the way it should be. And I heard somebody mention that, well, other GMs might consider that when you have this big of a personality that you'll just let something like this slide. No, that's not how we work. That's not how Mike Mayock works. So yes, he did the right thing. And if AB doesn't like it, then tough crap, man. So he handled it absolutely right. And AB's response to this, okay, and you didn't ask me yet, but do you want to do the Mayock thing? You want to give your part on that before we go to AB?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So of course Mayock was 100% right in doing it. I mean, he's a first-time general manager. He's got to set a tone. I mean, how does this look against him, especially coming from that tweet? I mean, look, Antonio Brown is doing everything publicly. Mayock is trying to avoid doing everything publicly. So when Mayock came out a few weeks back and made that statement publicly, Mayock was doing exactly what Antonio Brown does to the entire team, to the entire organization. Mayock went out publicly and said, we need to know, are you either all in or are you all out? Mayock didn't want to do that, but he's treating Antonio Brown the way Antonio Brown's treating everybody else. He's doing it publicly. And go for it.
And as of yesterday, and I kind of went in on this stuff last night on Raiders Fan Radio, and I don't take back anything that I said because that's the way that I felt and what I thought in that moment. And what the way I looked at it then was that, and I looked at Charles Woodson's response and Amy Trask's response to AB, and it was like, okay, this guy, as you mentioned, lives his life out on social media. So when you get a fine, you're not happy about it. Just like if you get a speeding ticket and you go on your Facebook page and you go, man, this sucks. I got a speeding ticket and it's going to cost me $250. You're not happy about it. And you're posting it and sharing it on social media. That's the way that I took this initially. But then today it escalated, and that's a different subject probably. But I want to say, so did he handle this correctly? If his intention was not the way that I took it, absolutely, he did not. And frankly, he's a jackass for it. And Clay Travis, who I love, he's if you don't know who he is, he's a sports talk show host on Fox Sports. He tweeted this out. I'm going to read his tweet. How many jobs in America could an employee post an internal work discipline letter on social media, insult your employer in the post, and not get fired for doing it? Athlete might be the only one, honestly. And now think about that. If you acted like Antonio Brown at your job, what would happen? You'd be freaking fired. That's it. Over. Goodbye. So then now to take it to what escalated into today or yesterday when we hear about this confrontation, dude, we went in all in a few weeks ago about whether he was a problem or not. And and if you remember, I was very specific. I said, I didn't think it was a problem and it won't be a problem until he's not on the field in week 1. Well, guess where we're at today, Raider Nation? So now it's a freaking problem. And this guy thinks he's bigger than the team. See you, dude. Like, we don't got time for this. We have bigger things in the world going on. We have bigger goals, and this Raider thing, AB, is so much bigger than you. We don't need you. They were targeting Tyrell Williams to be their number 1 wide receiver in the offseason to begin with. You were an afterthought. You hadn't even worn the freaking jersey in the regular season yet. Once a Raider, not always a Raider, pal. Hit the bricks, man. I hope they just freaking cut him at this point. If this is the kind of crap that we're going to have to deal with, I was so adamant last time because I was like, we haven't seen any evidence of anything. Well, now we got it. Now we got evidence that this guy is a tool. Well, take your ass on down the road, man. This got a lot of us on edge, Mikey. And dude, I don't get that wound up about this stuff. Typically, I get passionate about stuff, but like this bugs the crap out of me. And I'm so glad the way that the Raiders are handling it this way. They should draw a hard line. And you know what? And if they freaking void his salary, and it costs, you know what? If we suspend him, it voids his guaranteed money, which essentially means that he's not going to want to play. We can reclaim the $1 million he got in a signing bonus. This fool can walk and it will cost us nothing. It won't cost us a dime. And all we got to do is figure out who wide receiver number 2 is going to be. Let's go.
Yeah, so just a continuation of did Mike Mayock, handle it correctly? Yeah, he did for Mike Mayock. He's a first-time general manager. He needs to set a tone. Because Antonio Brown is not setting a tone on what he told the Raiders he was going to do as a leader, as a man amongst men, and all that other stuff. And did Antonio Brown handle it correctly? Oh, Antonio Brown handled it as a social media person. And look, I'm not going to defend Antonio Brown, and you're his biggest proponent and defender of Antonio Brown. So for Murf to get off the Antonio Brown bus, that says a lot of you and your character. And, I appreciate it, when you realize that he is truly becoming a problem. And he said it in so many statements. And Mike Mayock, and you guys got to think about this, he missed more than one practice. He missed more than one walkthrough. But that's the only things they fined him for. Think about this. Remember, he hurt his foot. He was put on the list, came back. Then he missed a couple of days. Then he came back with his agent. Then he missed a couple of days. So it's more than one. And Mike Mayock and Gruden let it slide. That's what they did. So Mike Mayock's like, this is it. We're done, Like, he cannot be doing this. We got to set a tone for the young players. And then Antonio Brown feels he's above the law. And long story short, did he handle it correctly? No, he handled it like a child, like a bipolar social media addict. And he's told everybody he's all in it for his inch. That's all he wants is his inch. And we have to take him on his word. So now, all right, let's move the question. That's not the question, is it? Oh, it is. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So did he handle it correctly? No. Sorry, I get my pictures messed up. So let's just try to move on because, this is going to be talked about on all the other shows, and you're going to get a lot of different takes. So let's try to go to a positive way. What went wrong? From either Mayock's perspective, Antonio Brown's perspective, or your perspective in general. What went wrong to get it to this point where they apparently had a fight? Whether Mayock went up to Antonio or Antonio went up to Mayock, I don't know. But the rumor is that players like Vontaze Burfict hold Antonio Brown back from yelling at Mike Mayock after he basically called Mayock the devil and hated the team's hating. But he said he was going to punch him in the face and fine him for punching the ball or something like that and walking off the field. I don't know if that really happened. We're speculating, but there's something happened. What went wrong, Murph? What went wrong?
Antonio Brown is one of those guys, unfortunately, that can't get out of his own way. And when you buy into yourself, that's a dangerous place to be. I'm not talking about having confidence in yourself. I'm not talking about, trusting your ability. I'm not talking about things like that. I'm talking about when you buy into you, Terrell Owens, Chad Ochocinco, right? There's numerous examples of this in the sports world where guys think that what they are doing is bigger than what the organization is. And the answer to that question will always be no. You will lose fighting your team. You will lose fighting the league. There's only, in the entire history of the NFL, there's only one guy that's fought the NFL and won, and that's Al freaking Davis. Everybody else loses when they fight the Shield or when you fight your team. It's only going to go one way. It's like arguing with a cop. It's stupid because it's only going to go one way. Just shut your mouth, take your ticket, and move on. And so because he can't get out of his own way, he can't stay off social media. He absolutely is caught. He's letting $54,000 get in the way of $30 million. I mean, think about that. That's illogical. Now, in going back, and you're right, I defended him for a long time because I said, well, people are taking these comments about him retiring. Is that logical? Would you really walk away from a Hall of Fame career and all that money for a helmet? Well, you know what? Now I'm starting to think, well, maybe he just is that bat-ass crazy. Like, maybe this stuff really doesn't matter to him. Maybe football doesn't really matter to him. And it's not manifesting in the way that it manifested in Andrew Luck. It's manifesting in the way that it manifested in Ryan Leaf, where you're constantly creating these situations where you're a victim and you're basically just trying to work your way out of the league. We saw Darren Waller talk about his drug addictions. And he said, I wanted the NFL to force me out. I wanted to, because then I wasn't quitting on it. It was having enough of me. I feel like that's what this freaking guy is doing now. Otherwise, why would you not keep your mouth halfway shut, stay off Twitter, and go become the greatest wide receiver of all time and break Jerry Rice's records and end up in the Hall of Fame? We're now, right now, and the next question is, how do they fix it? It's all got to be on him. He's got to be contrite. He's got to be apologetic. He's got to be willing to play the game. And here's the thing, because if he doesn't, this week, right now, between now and Monday, is literally going to define his career. We're going to find out if Antonio Brown is going to walk off the field and then 5 years later walk into Canton in the Hall of Fame, or if he's going to be an afterthought like Chad Ochocinco and like all these other guys go down the road. And while Terrell Owens did find his way ultimately in the Hall, that's what's going to happen to AB. And is that what you want? You want to be known as a quitter? You want to be known as the guy that got fired because you couldn't stay off Twitter? Like, it's just bananas. But I really don't think that he cares. And if his priorities are his family and he's got money and he knows he can provide for them for the rest of his life and he just wants to go to the house, well, then that's fine. But don't waste our friggin' time or the Raiders' time in the process. Just go on to the house. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, Murph. So just to reiterate some things I wrote down that I forgot to say earlier when I posted the picture of Antonio Brown posting the letter. If you guys remember correctly, or some of you guys do, I had lawyers send me like 38-page documents, 3 different occasions last year for my channel. And I even talked to you, Murph, around this time, and I shared screenshots with you personally about what they were doing to me or telling me. But I didn't post it on social media. I wanted to. I talked about it all the time. Oh, they're suing me, they're doing this. But I didn't post it on social media because I knew that they were watching everything I'm doing. They're going to use it against me. And they did, for the most part. But I didn't do it. I had the wits about me to, thank goodness to people like you telling me, Mike, just leave it alone. Just, go about what they're telling you and go about your business. But that brings me to mental issues. I think what went wrong with Antonio Brown is the NFL or the college that he played for or the high school that he played for or his parents or somebody or, whatever. There's something mentally wrong with him. And in today's world of mental illness, I don't think anybody helped him. He was such a star athlete that everything slid. Nobody got in his face early on, whether it be high school or whatever, force him to a doctor, try to see what's going on, or was this manifest, or did this creation only come out when he got millions of dollars with the Steelers? I do not know. But I think something is mentally wrong with him. And in today's millennial society, everybody loves Twitter, social media. They want to expose everything. Like, you cannot go a minute without wanting to make a YouTube video for money, for fame. I feel the same way. I wake up every day going, I got to make a video. I got to do something. Should I expose Raiders Report? Should I expose Mitchell Wrench? So I shouldn't even be saying stuff like that. But just like, that's how I feel. And I can imagine Antonio Brown mentally with all the same issues. How do I make more money? How do I get a contract deal? How do I do this? How do I expose that? How dare they find me? I'm Antonio Brown. I think something's mentally wrong with him. And I really think now this goes to my how should they fix it? I don't know how they should fix it. It's all up to Antonio Brown in my perspective. Antonio Brown, hopefully he takes these 3 or 4 days with his agent, realizes that the reason Mayock wrote conduct detrimental to the team was telling you we're coming after your contract. And then what does Antonio Brown do right after that letter? He exposes that, and that's now official contract detrimental to the team, in which you were talking about, Murph. They can take away his official contract if he's not on the roster on opening day. So that possibly cost Antonio Brown $30 million for the team. So let me just reiterate back. How do they fix it? Well, I wish that Mike Mayock, Drew Rosenhaus, because his agent's got to be there, and Antonio Brown get into a room and they all just start hugging each other and say, look, Antonio, we have to treat you like every single person in the world. We love you. We want you. We'll make you a part of this team. We'll add $3 million to your deal, but we're going to fine you from now on. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And you need to respect us, because money is the only term that Antonio Brown likes to hear. So could you imagine when Antonio Brown heard John Gruden give him faith with the helmet, Antonio Brown back to practice, it was all love, it was all good. Could you imagine if after fining Antonio Brown, the Raiders give him more money to please him? It's not the right thing to do, but that's how they would fix it from my perspective with Antonio Brown. Send $2 or $3 more million at him, and then at least for 1 year, we got Antonio Brown on the field as Raider fans. It's a stupid way to fix it. It's not going to be done that way, but I'm just throwing it out there, guys.
Yeah, I'm not sure that would get his attention. I mean, I don't think this guy gives a crap about money at all. I mean, Rosenhaus does. You know what I mean? I don't think, because otherwise, why would you not just keep it quiet until next week? Wait, get your $14 million guaranteed first, and then throw a fit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not calculated at all. He's just going off the cuff here. And I think that Rosenhaus, he'll try to drive Antonio Brown to honor this, because he doesn't want him suspended, because that would cost Drew Rosenhaus money. But dude, I don't know, man. I just don't see this thing ending well. And frankly, I'm just tired. Like, and I think that Raiders fans, and I can't read the chat, but please jump in there and tell me what you got. We've had a lot of dysfunction for so many years, and I'm just tired. I'm tired of Jamarcus Russell and Javon Walker and D'Angelo Hall. And you know what I mean? I'm tired of Khalil Mack holdout. I'm tired of where the Raiders are going to play. I'm tired of Antonio Brown. I'm tired of this stuff. I just want us to be a halfway normal football team. And I know that it's, to a certain extent, it's the Raider way, and we're always going to have this sort of controlled chaos, and I'm okay with that. But this rampant dysfunction days before the season opener? Come on, man. Like really, Antonio Brown? That's why I'm so quick to turn on him, because I'm like, dude, you are not doing anyone any favors. You are blowing it for everyone. for yourself.
Imagine Derek Carr. I mean, I feel so bad for Derek Carr going out of his way, defending him, saying he loves him, spending time with his family, flying him here. I heard a rumor, whether it's true or not, Derek Carr said he'll pay the fines. I don't know if that's true or not, but what is Derek Carr feeling? Derek Carr needs to be an MVP. Derek Carr needs Antonio Brown. This pisses me off.
All that time that Derek spent and invested in the offseason in Antonio Brown in him. Like all that is just going to be blown away into thin air. It's heartbreaking. And I think that's what it is about this one, is that it's just got it makes me sad. I'm like, come on, man. We just want to watch and enjoy our football team. Even if they're not the most competitive team in the world, I just want them to be healthy from an organizational perspective for once. It feels...
Murf, how do me and you solve our problems? We've had issues. How do we solve them? We talk to each other. We apologize for our part in whatever mistakes that either of us have made. Long story short, whether you think you made a mistake or not, if you realize I'm hurting, you apologize, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I made a mistake, Mike's hurting or Mikey's hurting. Same thing for you. Whether I made a mistake or not, Murf is hurting. It bothers Murf. I'm going to apologize and try not to ever do that again, because I respect you and I love you and I want to build this relationship. It doesn't look like Antonio Brown is all in, and it doesn't look like he truly wants to be a Raider. I don't know.
I don't think so. It doesn't feel like it. And this is the first time where, again, because we've got hard evidence and now we're looking at not having the guy on the field. It doesn't feel like he's in. You can say that all you want, but what do your actions tell you? What do your actions tell us? And man, I'm kind of over him, man. I want him on the team. I would love to have him on the team, but even if they resolve this tomorrow and he plays week 1, how long is it going to be till something else comes up? This is now the third thing, and we haven't even played a game yet. So I'm just kind of over him, man. I never liked him before anyways, because he was a friggin' Steeler. So it's not like I have any emotional attachment to I don't get emotional attachment to players really anyways. Occasionally I'll really lock into a guy, and Derek Carr, for instance, because the way he displays his faith and all that kind of I think that stuff is really cool. But if Derek Carr became a Redskin next year, well, I'm not rooting for him anymore. You know what I mean? I may think he's a swell guy, but I ain't rooting for him because he ain't a Raider. You know what I mean? Well, Antonio Brown's never been a Raider. In fact, he came from a team that we hate. So there's no attachment to this guy at all. You know what I mean? So again, if they don't get it fixed tomorrow, then cut him. Just break it off, man.
Pretty funny thing. Did you notice the letter came right after Hard Knocks aired?
Oh my gosh. So there was so many funny tweets about people doing GIFs of cars racing through traffic, and it's HBO executives racing back to the Raiders facility. Yeah, don't you wish that I'm glad it didn't happen 1 week later, because it's not going to hurt the Raiders financially, but I'm bummed it didn't happen 1 week earlier and end up on Hard Knocks, because this would have been amazing television.
Well, yeah, the crew left, that Tuesday afternoon. So the letter was handed after the crews left.
Yep.
And HBO, do a 6th episode. The first time in your history. Do a 6th episode. Let's go. And then real quick, I'm going to end it with this, Murf. I love doing conspiracy theories, but I'm going to do a great positive conspiracy theory for this whole situation. Mike Mayock is trying to build a foundation with the Raiders, a la, let's say, the Patriot way, players that buy in and all that. And Mike Mayock on Hard Knocks, he didn't let a lot of these things out. He didn't have storylines bad. And then now the Antonio Brown stuff, Antonio Brown wants to build his brand. Maybe Mayock, Gruden, and all of them are in on it. Again, it's a conspiracy theory. I know it's speculating, but it's fun. Maybe they're all in on it because it's building the Raiders brand, the entertainment value for Vegas. The views are going to be up for B. He's getting endorsement deals. All of them are in on it. And then all of a sudden, this helps the foundation, and this helps Mike Mayock as a first-time general manager look good. You get maybe Antonio Brown a week from now is in camp. Everything's fine. He takes the fine. He does the 1-game suspension. Maybe he needs to heal his feet that we don't even know about. So maybe they made it all up to heal his feet one more week. I don't know. But still, maybe it's all a theory that they're doing it together. And then everybody's going to look at Mike Mayock as, man, he's general manager that controlled Antonio Brown. Put him in line. Then Antonio Brown builds his brand and makes even more money. Post this, he gets reality shows and all that other stuff. I don't know. I'm just saying. That's a theory. But that would have to take a lot of work to get into a meeting and be like, all right, let's plan it. Week 1, you mess up your feet. Week 2, you mess up your helmet. Week 3, I walk out publicly and call you all in or all out. Week 4.
You're out of control.
It was fun to do. Let's move on. Antonio Brown, please take the suspension. Get in an office with Mike Mayock. Get in an office with Gruden and talk like a man. Because you want the money for your family, Antonio. You want it for your family for the rest of your life. And you want to be the man. And you cannot be the man. And you can change the Raiders culture and the destiny and build a dynasty. That is something not a lot of people are afforded to. With 2 organizations. Get on the field, Antonio. Fuck up. All right, predict his final stats.
0s.
Oh, God. I'm going to say he plays Monday night. I don't know. They're writing that he got suspended officially. Did you see any of that, Murph, so far? Breaking news?
Last I read, and I've been following, I've been trying to keep up with it. Last I saw, Drew Rosenhaus went on NFL Network and said he's not aware of any suspension.
Yeah, okay, good. Then we'll leave it at that.
I trust Drew Rosenhaus about as much as I trust, I guess Antonio Brown. I'm trying to think of somebody I don't like.
Drew Rosenhaus is like, man, that's $50 million over 3 years. That's $30 million guaranteed. I get 5%. That's probably like $2 million for me. Get your butt in line. Whatever.
He's trying to do that. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, roster cuts. We'll quickly get into it. Any surprises, mistakes? There were no trades that I know about. So any surprises and mistakes from the roster cuts that we just did?
As far as surprise cuts or surprise guys that made it, I'll give you one that made it. I'm glad Dallin Levitt made it. And we had talked about him a couple times. I can't remember if it was on this show or maybe even on both. And I was, I wouldn't know it was here. And I was saying that I was rooting for him and that he was going to really make his mark on special teams. And sure enough, Gruden was asked about Dallin Levitt for the first time at all this offseason and in preseason about him as a player. And Gruden, sure enough, he said, the guy's a stud on special teams. He's awesome on kick coverage. He always shows up on the tape. And so we had to create a spot for him. And so they did. So congratulations to him. So I thought that was great.
Any mistakes, your perspective?
I'm going to say no, because, when you look at there are 2 guys that determine who get to be on this football team. And we get our own storylines in our heads because we, read articles and we watch TV shows and all this kind of stuff. But there's only 2 guys that are watching endless amount of hours of tape on all of these players, and that is John Gruden and Mike Mayock, and everyone else is guessing. Like literally everyone else is guessing to who's going to make the team. That includes media, that includes guys like you and me. So because of that, I don't think there are any mistakes because those are the 2 guys that know this team the best. So I don't, Keelan Doss, the one that everybody freaked out about. Look, he's playing on the practice squad in Jacksonville, and they have crap wide receivers in Jacksonville, and he couldn't even make that team. So let's not pretend like this dude was like an all-world athlete. Now I was rooting for him because it was a cool story, so I wanted to see him make the team, but clearly they didn't think so. So I don't think there was any mistakes at all. In terms of trades, I'm surprised we didn't bring in a guard. As vulnerable as we are at guard, as vulnerable as we're going to be in the first 2 weeks, especially now if we're talking about going in without AB, I thought for sure with all the different cuts around the league, we would have maybe not necessarily traded for, but maybe at least brought in another guard or 2. But they seem to be very pleased with where they're at. So I think that surprised me as well, that there wasn't any movement there.
Yeah, well, they brought in free agency Cooper, and they believe in Denzel Good coming off of injury. And they still believe in Brandon Parker for the most part. So that's the guard situation. Any surprises for me from the roster cuts? Well, look, I could say Keelan Doss, of course, but I'm going to say Brandon Marshall. Because the point was, they sold him on Vegas. And, he spoke about it in the media. He was a big price free agent. I mean, he was one of the best linebackers in the NFL about 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And that was a shock to me. That was a surprise because early on in camp, he wasn't getting on the field. And I was like, man, he might be cut. Oh, he might be cut. Then all of a sudden, he gets on the field and then he's playing with the ones in the camp and all that. And then all of a sudden, they say they're not going to play their starters preseason games, and he doesn't play. But then in the one game where they had the starters, the official lineup, he was in there. And then all of a sudden, Brandon Marshall's cut. I'm like, what? Whatever. That was a surprise to me. And the mistake, you know what? I am going to say cutting Keelan Doss is a mistake. I just really like why did they sell the hometown story of him being from Alameda? And they did it on Hard Knocks every week. That means the coaches loved him. They were talking good about him. And then they kept saying 5 or 6 players are going to make the team. 5 or 6 players are going to make the team, undrafted free agents. And then on Hard Knocks, they only featured the players that were cut. They started featuring Keelan Doss in week 2. So did they know they were going to cut Keelan Doss the whole time? Did Gruden tell the Hard Knocks crew to start featuring him? I don't know. But they could have let him go early so he could have signed on with another team to learn the playbook. I don't know what happened there. It just feels a little weird. Then on top of that, Keelan Doss cleared waivers. No team picked him up. So the Raiders were hoping for that. That's why they let him go. He cleared waivers. Then the Raiders, the Vikings, the Jaguars and multiple other teams invited him as a free agent to be on their practice squad. He had the choice. Even Gruden said it. We wanted him. We told him to come on the practice squad, but he chose the Jaguars because he believed, that he had a better spot to make the roster. Now looking back with Antonio Brown possibly going, man, there might be a mistake. But I really wanted him to make the team. Let's move on. Who will win the Raiders MVP in offense? Antonio Brown, Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, or Rodney Hudson?
I voted in this. Derek Carr. I'm one of those 58%. Yeah.
Well, without Antonio Brown, I'm going to say Josh Jacobs because the NFL will look upon, he'll get a lot of balls thrown his way. But I 100% agree.
Fair. Yep.
All right, let's go to the quick preseason game review. Then we're going to get into the Monday Night Football preview. What did you think of this preseason? So I'll show the final scores on screen while you're talking about. The Raiders were 3-1, Murf. You predicted them to be 0-4, I believe.
I did.
But what were your thoughts on this preseason? We kind of talked about it earlier, but I was annoyed.
Underwhelming. I mean, it was kind of fun to see the dynamic between Gruden and McVay and to hear those stories and whatnot and to see the Raiders at home. But other than that, kind of underwhelming. Same thing with this one. Although this was fun, the sack on Kyler Murray with Cleveland Farrell and LaMarcus Joyner. That was legit. That was a great play.
Yeah, I enjoyed that game with Paul Gunther throwing the book at Kyler Murray in week 2 of the preseason. That was great. Green Bay Raiders game, I thought it was a debacle, but I enjoyed the just win mentality and the coming back from behind with Peterman and everything. I just thought it was fun to watch, even though I hated the start to the game. And they had an 80-yard field, and I was confused AF the whole game.
I like Daniel Carlson kicking all them field goals, man. I think we got a sharpshooter back at kicker.
Yep. And then the Seattle game, I loved Gruden going for 2. Many experts are like, why go for 2? Just end the game. But I love the just win mentality by Gruden saying, go for effing 2 on Hard Knocks. Go for effing 2. And they're going for 2. Even Jason Cabinda's mom was like, they're going for 2. And nobody thought it. I loved it. Your thoughts on that game quickly?
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing. I only watched part of it. I watched more of it on Hard Knocks than I did on the actual broadcast. So, yeah.
Dude, they featured like 28 minutes of the Seattle game on the last episode of Hard Knocks. That's insane. All right, where's the graphic? Here it is. Let's give our, I'm going to call it non-expert analysis of the week 1 preview. Give me what to expect, some sleepers to look out for, 5 things to watch for, and predictions. And we'll go through it little by little.
I think we're going to get to Joe Flacco. I think that our defense is going to have an opportunity to shine. I think our secondary is, no one's talking. Remember for like ever when we didn't have cornerbacks, no one's talking about Conley and Worley and these guys. And, even Mullen, who's on IR, no, not Mullen. It's, oh gosh, who's the kid that went on IR? Help me out.
Nelson or Johnson? Nixon.
No, the one that went on, one with the facial orbital bone.
Isn't that Isaiah Johnson?
Isaiah Johnson. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. But yeah, and then Mullen being the, I think our corners are really good. And then also, I love the idea that, and depending on which depth chart you've seen, LaMarcus Joyner is listed even as a corner. And he is fully aware that he's coming in to play the slot. That's where he's going to shine. So we're going to see so much safety play, if you could still consider him a safety. So he'll be on the field simultaneously with Carl Joseph and also Jonathan Abram. I think so. Yes, for sleeper. I mentioned how good I think the secondary is going to be. We're going to get to Joe Flacco. I think the sleeper is Carl Joseph. And the only reason I say that is that not because of anything that I've seen. I trust other people's eyes better than I trust my own. And of the players are all over Carl Joseph. We heard it on Hard Knocks, right? We've heard him in interviews. They talk up Carl Joseph like crazy. Everybody loves this guy. So is he now at a point where he can excel in Gunther's, scheme? If we generate a little bit of a pass, we know the guy can hit, and now we got Abram back there who's going to be laying lumber too. I just think it's an opportunity for Carl Joseph to show us why he was a first-round pick. And so I think that our defense is going to shine in this game. I can't wait to see us get after Joe Flacco. I can't stand him. I didn't like him when he was a Raven. I don't like him now. Of course, we hate Von Miller. I'm a little worried about our interior protection because of the guards being out. And they're going to move, Chubb and Miller all over the place to try to take advantage of those guys that we have on the interior of the line. But hopefully with a leader like Rodney Hudson, he can keep them solidified and keep us gelled up in there in the middle. And so I'm excited, man. It's exciting enough to be week 1 and Raider football and playing at home and Monday night and all that. But against the freaking Donks, man, let's go.
Yeah, I'm no good at game analysis. I normally do it from a fan perspective, but I'll try to break it down from Mikey Raiders knowledge. I'm concerned about our offensive line just because we didn't see much of them, without Incognito during preseason. And Denzel Good barely came back off of an injury maybe about 5 days ago. But I just want to see how they're going to gel together, whether it be Brandon Parker or Denzel Good at the left or the right or Jonathan Cooper. I'm a little bit concerned. And then on top of that, if Antonio Brown, and again, speculation, if he doesn't play, they're going to bring the house on Derek Carr, because he's going to and then poor Josh Jacobs, they're going to bring 7 or 10 against the line. And they got a vaunted defensive line, the Denver Broncos. So I'm worried about it. But in a positive light, I ain't that worried about it. I think the Raiders can handle anything that the Broncos give them because we handled it last year, to say that being said. And then on top of that, the matchups that I'm looking out for is I think Arden Key's going to have a huge game. I think Arden Key's going to get at least 2 sacks. I see Arden Key getting to Flacco, like you said. And then I don't see Cortland Sutton. Who are their wide receivers? I see our cornerbacks or our 6 safeties blitzing a lot. That's why they kept 6 of them, because they're going to go into coverage against these tight ends, these running backs out of the backfield. And then they got, whatever his name is, that running back that he's coming off injury. They don't know who their true running back is right yet. Their offensive line is struggling. I think our defensive line is going to hit a home run this game, whether it be the safeties, the cornerbacks, intercepting, blitzing. I think Paul Gunther, the Raiders defense, wants to make a freaking statement with this Monday night coverage, and that's why they brought the house against Kyler Murray, and they're going to prove Flacco is a fluco at the end of this game. I see the Raiders winning big. Big.
Good deal. I like it. I like it, Mikey.
All right, make sleepers to look out for. You know what? I'm going to throw out Tyrell Williams. I think even if Antonio Brown does play, another message might be sent by Derek Carr to Tyrell Williams, to Antonio Brown, and then he'll get mad again, and there'll be more drama for next week because he didn't get the ball thrown his way. But I hope not. But the truth is, if Antonio Brown plays, Derek Carr is going to use him, and they're going to throw the rock to Antonio Brown. And if he does play, I'm telling you, over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns from Antonio Brown. My sleeper, though, could be Tyrell Williams.
I dig it. That's a great one, Mikey. Good call.
What about you? What's your sleeper? Your official sleeper?
Yeah, Carl Joseph.
Oh, that's on defense. Give me an offense one.
Well, it's hard to beat Tyrell Williams, man. So I mean, I'll just say me too on that one. I thought that was a great call because regardless of what happens with Antonio Brown, there might be a message to get sent there. And look, they're going to do what they're going to need to do to win the football game. They're not going to let these off the field issues affect the game plan or decision making in terms of who you throw the football to. But Tyrell Williams is now he's the man as of right now. He's the man in this offense, and he's going to want to show it. And this guy's a stud, man. We can't forget when Keenan Allen got hurt for the Chargers. This guy had freaking over 1,000 yards in his stead. So this isn't the first time he would have taken over for a big time number one wideout. So I think
$10 million too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a shade under Antonio Brown, like you said. Antonio's getting 13 and a half, 14.
Yeah. So I think Tyrell Williams is a great call, man. I like it, Mikey.
You could say Josh Jacobs too. There's a lot expected of him as well.
Yeah, but that's not really a sleeper though, and that's why I didn't pick him because we all have high expectations for Josh Jacobs, and we know they're going to run the crap out of the football, so he's going to get plenty of opportunity to be good. So I don't think that'll kind of come out of nowhere. But with all this AB stuff, like, people keep forgetting about Tyrell Williams and how amazing this guy is. Got to remember, man, this guy was targeted and I said it already once, I'll say it again. He was targeted to be our number one wide receiver in this offense. Antonio Brown was an afterthought. So, Raider Nation, look for Williams, man. He's going to blow up.
Raiders.com posted a featurette on Hunter Renfrow and an interview earlier today. I don't know if they specifically did that. They're like, hey, let's feature Hunter Renfrow. He's going to make a big statement in that game. Antonio Brown's probably watching everything on social media, so let's not feature Antonio Brown. Let's feature Hunter Renfrow.
How about AB unfollowing all of the Raiders? Did you see that?
I heard. Is that true? Because I did read about that.
Yeah,
I read about that in the forum. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Swag Jeff went and fact-checked it and went through our Instagram and went through all of our socials, and he sure did, including Derek Carr. Like, he unfollowed everybody.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness. That is some childish.
Isn't that silly?
Baby.
Yeah.
It's over, Murph. I'm sorry, Mike. It's over. This Antonio Brown thing is over. Oh my God.
I think so too, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, I've already parted with him mentally. Like, all right, we'll move on without you, dude.
Oh my, wow. For somebody that loves social media like Antonio Brown, for him to make that statement,
yep.
Not only post the letter, but him to unfollow Derek Carr, everybody else that you guys have been listing. Wow.
Yep. That's exactly right. That's not a minor thing in his world. In his world, unfollowing all those, that's a message being sent.
Huge.
That's huge. Yeah.
And unfortunately, we can't trade him. We get no value. Nobody wants this debacle. Yeah, so we can't get no first round picks.
Yeah, but we don't need to trade him. That's the good news. We don't have anything invested.
You just release him. Get out of the contract like you were stating, and let's move on.
Yep.
Give me a prediction for this week's Monday Night Football game. How about it? 2 predictions with Antonio and without Antonio.
I think end result is the same. I'm gonna take the Raiders. I don't think they're gonna win huge, but I definitely think we win this game. And give me the Raiders 21-7.
All right. So with Antonio Brown, because something really good happened, magical. It'll be a miracle night in Oakland if Antonio Brown plays. So the Raiders win.
Watch him get booed. Watch him
Murph.
get booed. No,
it's like the Andrew Luck situation. I'm like, what's going on?
You know what? Watch him at player introductions. You keep effing with Raider Nation. You go ahead. You keep effing with us and watch how we respond to you. You watch him. Watch us boo his ass on Monday Night Football.
All right, with Antonio Brown, we win 38-17. 38-17 with Antonio. Without Antonio, we win 24-17. All right, let's move on. This is getting. Wow,
I know. We got a real life football game getting ready to start too.
Just want to let everybody know we got the Mondays with Mikey and Murf T-shirt available down below in the links. We also got Murph's Fan Cave or Raiders Fan Radio. All links are below.
Yeah, I love that picture of you.
Get made officially, and they'll look as good as I do in that shirt. And send the picture to Murf. He'll post it. He'll share it and subscribe.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll put them in our intro for our YouTube show. We feature a whole bunch of people's pictures that have sent those in. So absolutely.
And all proceeds go to the Fred Biletnikoff Foundation. And the links are, I promise, all down below to get all of this great stuff and to subscribe for Murf. All right, let's get into a quick fan question from D. Knight Walker. He wrote, "Hey, Mikey," but I'm sure he meant Murf as well. But, hey, I took it. "Hey, Mikey and Murf, I just wanted to make a suggestion for a question for the opening segment of Mondays with Mikey and Murf. Has Hard Knocks been a blessing in disguise for Raider Nation? I think it has, because we were all afraid of it was going to impact negatively on the team. But truth be told, I believe it has actually helped the Raiders disarm mainstream media. For the past 4 weeks, every time the media has been talking crap about the team, come Tuesday, we can all see they were lying and blowing it all out of proportion. Between Hard Knocks and the preseason games, I keep thinking, maybe this season won't be the S show that ESPN predicted. Now, after all this Antonio Brown stuff, what do you think about this statement?"
Yeah, is that D. Knight Walker that wrote that? Spot on, my friend. And that's exactly what my thoughts were going into this, is that there's so much that swirls around the Raiders, and that because they close practices and the Raiders are very closed off in terms of the information that they share. So it truly leaves us to, if we're going to have opinions about this thing, we have to kind of cultivate all the news together and then develop our opinions out of it. So yeah, I thought, well, having Hard Knocks there is going to be great because they're going to show everything. So if something is a big deal, they'll talk about it. So we got to see Antonio Brown and his feet and his helmet and all those things. We got to see it. So I totally agree with you. I thought it was great. I thought it was, but now we're back to being in the dark again. So, oh well, but yeah, I totally agree, D. Knight. Good job on that message there.
Yeah, that's why I posted it, because I believe it was a blessing in disguise. Because in episode 3, we were all talking about, is Gruden why does he have Antonio Brown's back, and is it a bigger problem? And it didn't look that big of a problem at the time, Murf, especially on Hard Knocks. So that's why I enjoyed it, and I think it was good for the Raiders to be on Hard Knocks. But long story short, we got footage now of our Raiders on Hard Knocks. Real quick, Murf, do you ever want the Raiders on Hard Knocks again?
No. Because I want them to win the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And you have to be a bad team to be on Hard Knocks. So no, I hope they're never. That's why you never see the Patriots on there, right? So so I don't ever want to see them on Hard Knocks again. Although I thoroughly enjoyed it. Me too. 100% agree. I waited this long, and I got it. And I want the Raiders to win, and I don't want to be on it anymore. If you guys want to send a shout out to me and Murf or ask a question, please go to the Raider Rant hotline. Leave it under about 30 seconds. Ask a simple question. Be like, "Hey, Mikey, hey, Murf." Ask a question, and we'll get you on the next show. We haven't had a lot of phone calls like that. Go out, make some questions, leave it under 30 seconds, or post underneath these shows in the forum a quick, simple question, and I'll try to have you on the next show. So that being said, Murf, bam, it's time for Thursday Night Football. Woohoo!
Football is back, baby. We got the Chicago Bears versus the Green Bay Packers. So unfortunately, we have to watch Khalil Mack possibly sack Aaron Rodgers on the opening night of the Raider season, basically. Give me a prediction. Who do you think wins tonight and why?
I hope I don't know who. I think the Packers. I'm going to give me the Pack. I just can't pick the Bears, even if my brain even says that they're pretty good. I think Trubisky was a little fluky, and so I think that give me the Packers. I'll take the Packers, and then because we want the Bears to lose every game miserably, because remember, we still got one of their picks left. So we want the Bears to absolutely stink up the joint. And so give me the Packers, a lot to a little. We'll say 38-10. Give me the Pack. Let's go Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is I think I can share this with you guys without getting too yelled at in the chat. Aaron Rodgers is my favorite non-Raider. Aaron Rodgers is awesome. Like, in anybody who's ever had any familiarity with how quarterback is played, you watch this guy and the poise and his footwork, his accuracy on the move, like, he's a freaking amazing quarterback. And so for somebody I'm a football fan above all else. I'm an NFL fan. Yes, I'm a Raider fan, but I'm a football fan. I just love this freaking sport. And if you're a football fan, you like watching Aaron Rodgers play football because it's impressive, some of the stuff that he's able to do. So sign me up for that man crush. And if you want to kill me in the chat for liking a non-Raider, that's cool. I wouldn't wear his jersey, but I like the Packers, man, and I like Aaron Rodgers, and he's from the same city, Chico, California, where I went to college the first time. So and went to Butte Community College, played college football there for a little while. And I even went to Butte for a minute too. Of course, I was 10 years ahead probably of Aaron Rodgers, but you get the idea. So, he's a Northern California guy. And so I dig it, man. So give me the freaking Pack. Go Packers.
You got facts like Gruden all the time, brother. I believe the Packers will win. It'll be a closer game than many people think. I just trust Aaron Rodgers in the fourth quarter with 3 minutes left. He just seems to be freaking magic, and it seems to happen all the time with Aaron Rodgers. The Bears got a nice defense, and we are going to see a lot of good plays from Trubisky, but I don't think it'll hold up. The Packers win. I ain't going to give you a final score because I really don't care. But I just wanted to give a quick shout-out to Mean519, who was my moderator today on the show. I'm sure you did an excellent job. I wasn't able to check everything. And I just want to remind everybody, if you would like to be a part of this show, leave your comments below, call the Raider Rants hotline, ask us questions. And then also during the shows, if you guys donate or whatever, we're going to pick nicknames for you guys. That's right. Me and Murph will get before a show for anybody that Super Chat donates in the future. We will pick funny nicknames and we will post it above the screen of our next week's show. So get to it. Maybe it's too late for this week, but maybe next week you guys know what's going on. Thank you, Mean519. Murph, thank you for coming on air with me.
Yeah, and brother.
Thank you for having a positive show. I thought it was really good, even though there was a lot of negative stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that we've all just kind of settled down a little bit into what this is. And, even as disturbing as it was the first part of the day today to start reading all this news, I mean, just like the different stages of grief, you get to acceptance and it's like, all right, I've accepted what this is. Now what are we going to do about it? And that's what's curious. And, but yeah, man, so I appreciate, man, this was a fun show and, enjoyed it as always, spending time here on Honor Nation with you, Mikey. And, man, I'm excited. Football season, man, it's official. Now, the next time you and I will get together, we will have a Raider game to talk about.
Actually, we're probably going to have two to talk about because think about the way our show's progressing. We do the shows on Monday night. So we got the Monday night football game. Then we're going to have that Sunday game. Then we're going to have official Mondays with Mikey and Murf. Then we're going to have two games to get to.
We're going to have two divisional games. So we're going to be 2-0 and talking about how this team's going to the Super Bowl, right?
I hope so. And I hope it'll be a victory Monday officially or two victory
Mondays. Yeah, man.
But no matter what, we're going to have at least one victory, I know. And we're going to have a victory Monday for sure. All right. All things aside, Murph, tell everybody how they can find your shows. Tell them what you're doing on your shows, like why can't I think of the name of it? Tales from the Raider Nation.
Yeah, Tales from the Nation. So on my podcast network, Murph's Fan Cave, you can find it anywhere. Just search Murph's Fan Cave, MURFS. Fan Cave, you get 4 shows. You get the flagship show, which is Raiders Fan Radio, and then we have the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead Tom and Fitz. That is a fan club and booster show. It's very Raiders centric, but they also talk about booze and rock and roll and all kinds of good stuff.
It turned into a ballroom blitz. I don't know.
They're great. They're a lot of fun. That's those guys are all members and a president of the New Jersey chapter of the Black Hole. So those guys, they're great Raider fans, and it's a very New Jersey type show. It's great. So check them out. Then you get the audio version of this show of Mondays with Mikey and Murf. You'll get that in the feed. And then we have our new show, which is Tales from the Nation. We just released the latest episode, which was the divine interception when Michael Huff intercepted Matt Schaub, and he got in front of Jacoby Jones and picked that thing off in the end zone to seal a Raider win the day after Al Davis passed away. And so that was a lot of fun reliving those memories.
Is that the game where Hugh Jackson walked the middle of the field in front of the cameras and kneeled down and prayed so all the cameras could go around Hugh Jackson at that moment?
That day, he was the perfect coach to be the coach of the Raiders. And then immediately after that, crap the bed. and at the end of that season, when all we had to do was win another game, we could have won the freaking division because we lost all the tiebreakers to everybody, and he was dismissed after. Game. Yeah, and he was dismissed after he declared himself king of the Raiders, but forgot to ask Mark Davis's permission first.
That's going to be a great listen. I can't wait to listen.
Yeah, it was fun. It's a great episode, man. Definitely check it out. And so there
was 10 men on the field on that play. 10 men only.
Al Davis was the 11th. That's exactly right. Yep. Yeah, a lot of fun. So definitely check out Murph's Fan Cave. Check out all those shows. Thank you to all of you. Every time I've done this show, that when we've announced the shirts, I always get orders during the show. So thank you to those of you that have bought shirts already. Thank you to those of you that have going to do that in the future. And if you're a large, I'm sorry, we're out. We're starting to run low on inventory. So, but all the money that you send to us for those shirts is going to go straight to Bolitnikoff. And so
on a night just like tonight, Large Marge could not buy her Get Made shirt because she was a large. On a night just like tonight.
I love it. I love it. That's Stand By Me, right?
No, I believe that's Pee Wee Herman play out or the
yeah. That's Lad. She's the truck driver.
Yeah. Where they had the Beetlejuice claymation where Large Marge goes, ah!
Yes. Oh, what was the one I'm thinking of from Stand By Me? That was the kid that, what was his name? The one that made himself throw up?
Michael Brower. That was his name, Michael Brower.
No, it wasn't.
That was the dead guy.
Yes.
Stand By Me. His name was Michael Brower. Then the other guy that throws up looks exactly like me, and he throws up while he's eating the pie.
Yeah, and then everybody starts throwing up on each other, and that's how he got his revenge.
Yeah, I love movies, Murph.
Good stuff.
All right, let's get on out of here. Say goodbye to the nation quickly, and we're going to do the theme song. And
See you later. See you later, nation. Enjoy your football season. Be kind to each other. Try not to beat each other too much or by having a different opinion. Opinions are great, but just remember to respect everybody else's just because theirs is just as valid as yours. And when it comes to this stuff, and I know it's a crazy time for us as Raider fans, but just accept it for what it is, man. Just enjoy the team. You can't control who plays on the team, who coaches the team, what city they play in, but you can control your surroundings. Get together with your friends and family, celebrate one another, celebrate your fandom, and enjoy carne asada and beer and wings and pizza and all the cool, fun things, the gatherings of food and joy and drink and Raider football, man. That's what it's all about. Don't ever lose sight of that, Raider Nation, no matter what.
God bless you, Raider Nation. Straight out of the words of Murph, enjoy your life, enjoy your family, and enjoy being a part of the Raider Nation. Let's get out of here, Murph. This has been Monday with Mikey and Murph. We talked Raiders and some dirt because we are a cool Raider talk show. We're going to have good times every week. Let's go. This has been Mondays with Mikey and my amazing co-host, Murph. We'll see you next week, Raider Nation.
You rock, Mikey.
You rock, Murph. Good night.